Good evening. It's 10:17 p.m. Texas time. Mood is everything. I've said it a million times. Today, after I kind of was exposed prematurely, I hadn't planned, but after 7 hours or so of exposure to relatively minor wind chill, it got to me. It was around 10 to 13 miles an hour all day, but that's just enough to. It was And by 4:30, I was just exhausted. I was felt chill. I'm not used to having been, just crawled in a fart sack. I was asleep before sunset, before dark. Uh, didn't wake up till after 7. Was feeling lazy. Uh, Slowly kind of woke up. Had a little exchange between my best friend and me. I told him I didn't wake up until the wind stopped. When the wind stopped, I came back to life. Now that was, at this point it was 3 hours ago. I'm uh, enjoying it. As a matter of fact, I'll probably stay up and awake as long as the wind ain't. It's cooling off slowly. It's really almost about the same temperature as when I fell asleep, but the wind ain't just stealing and robbing. I keep telling you, it's all about wind speed and wetness when it comes to survival and you know. So I'm in a pretty good mood because after you get chilled like that, it just exhausts you. Uh, uh, it's a pretty good day. Most people left me alone, but no shit. I no sooner woke up and somebody's handing me a bag full of greasy ass Cane's chicken fingers and greasy fries. The beef stew I had around 2 o'clock or something was a million times better in every aspect. Number one, because I cooked it and with the proper oil. But I've been just goofy, slowly coming to life. When you're not being just beat down by the wind all the time. Wind for me, like I've said a million times, since about the 1st of May of 2023, wind has become the predominant factor in my homeless life here. We've had some breaks in the wind, but we had a full year where the wind just never stopped moving, just almost never stopped moving. It was just fucking awful. I like this little thing. I wouldn't ordinarily, because these usually go for about $7 or $8. They last quite a while, but for the same amount of money, I can literally get uh, 21 regular Scripto lighters. Uh, yeah, I'm got most of my upper body is out. My hands are not even. My hands were colder at 4:30 in the afternoon. As soon as the sun went behind the building and stuff like that, the chill was just. Anyway, I'm in the back of my head. I keep having these feelings. I used to be a pretty good at kind of forecasting the weather, and I keep getting these strange. And I usually even will tell my best friend but I usually don't tell them unless I'm pretty sure. Unless I see certain signs, I don't really see them yet. But one thing, I'm out of touch with nature. I'm not watching the birds migrate and shit. Don't have access to that anyway. But I get this crazy feeling that we might actually have a normal Texas winter, which means it'll be over. Although they're claiming next month is going to be wet, and that's actually could be one of the signs is if we start getting a lot of moisture up from the Gulf, like on this occasion, the moisture came from the Gulf, not from the Pacific. Anyway, I'm sometimes a little too wrapped up in that meteorology, but it's early in life being at sea was something that was, anyway, goofing off. I'm starting to ramble off in a direction I don't want to go. Actually, let's talk about what I'm doing. Right now, I can't decide whether or not to finish watching the movie, but I'm about halfway through it. Just stumbled across it. Everything else is so lame. There's so many Google. And I know if I go searching for it, they're going to show me shit that I've already seen. They want to see that. They I know that the Google and YouTube are constantly trying to test to see if you're, whether you got, shit for brains. Like when they keep suggesting something to me that they know I've already seen before, supposed to have it in their records that I've already seen it before. I tell them, I said, I've already, seen it before. Nope, I already seen it before. Anyway, it was an odd movie. This is Craig Ferguson, which, by the way, most of the Fergusons are Jewish. It's one of those names. You might think you're Scottish, but you're actually probably Jewish. Anyway, this is a movie I never even heard of. I know it certainly didn't make his career, and to tell you the truth, he's not really very convincing as it's a pretty old movie because by now, shit, he's 65 or somewhere in that range, 60 something. It's called The Big Tease. He's playing a gay Scottish hairdresser, trying to do this. It's a movie within a movie thing. It's a movie, where they're pretending. Oh, great! Now I get right in the middle of this is where the memory comes in. Okay, the zipper will be on the other side, and it's called "We Left-Handers Have Good Spatial Organization. We remember where we put shit, and we can reach around behind us and go into a pack and pick out the one thing we're looking for." Anyway, I'm still watching because it's kind of goofy and the jokes are not really, gut busters, but there's so much. I'm just gonna let that. I'm trying to get that in the trash bag as always, but it's clinging to me. That's the problem. It's electric. The air's dry. And shit. That's part of it. I'm in a good mood because the wind ain't just beating me. You saw me when I checked into the hotel. I went up to the mirror and you could see how windburned my face was. And my eyes were windburned. God, it's just. I know the top came off. No, I don't want to pop open. Oh! Anyway, it's mostly kind of a situation comedy kind of deal. The dialogue isn't that funny. Why the hell won't it come open? I already pulled the top off. That's how it had a little minor impact. I got to really. Yeah, oh, shit. That's okay. I got a little pile of trash there, right? Anyway. My main point is look out. I'm going to stay up as late as I want to tonight. Just like today, when I was chilled and fatigued, that's when I crawled, into my fart sack here. And it took me no time. A few minutes, I was out. Nobody bothered me. Anyway, back to the big tease. It's mildly amusing, but it's just not as funny. And he's just, Craig just isn't convincing as, it's funny. The other one still had 2 cigarettes. I don't know why I opened that up. It felt like it was empty. There was one left in there. and he's just not. He's kind of acting like a queen, a catcher, stuff, but he's just. They didn't spend much time, and it's. I guess they really. Some of the comedy's kind of subtle, but I was watching a movie. I like talking about movies. Okay, cut me some slack. I had when I first got up, I restarted a movie that I had begun watching. I had on my save to watch list. It's a Bill Holden movie, and then as they got into it, at first it kind of started out like I might be interested in it because he's kind of a drunk and a gambler, horse track, and he's a former jockey trainer or whatever, or jockey agent, and then the movie went kind of pederastic. I could just see who the movie script was sculpted for were the pederastic types, the National Man Boy Love Association kind of guys. That movie's shit as old as I am or older or something. I've just been looking for anything. I mean, I've seen most of the good movies, so it's hard to find movies that that are really good that I haven't seen. There's a lot of good little gems hidden out there. They're just not on the. They're kind of off the beaten track. It's. But anyway, I thought I would just kind of once again. I just wanted to kind of check in. That's what I do. I'm keeping a log. That's what these things are called. A log. Blogging was the internet version of a log. Writing in a book, diary, journal, captain's log, whatever, yada yada. Star date 57, 84, 85. Now I think we're in 85 already on the Jewish calendar. As of last fall, I just. But anyway, I just because I really, I've used to be a big fan of Craig Ferguson's show and stuff like that. He's a pretty high energy guy, and Mitzi used to be just a roaring drunk and stuff like that, and I used to enjoy his TV shows and stuff because he puts a lot of effort into it. I like movies where they put a lot of effort into the dialogue and stuff. That's one of these things that this movie doesn't have. The big T's obviously didn't get, nationwide distribution. There's some recognizable stars in there, and stuff. And Craig Ferguson at the time was just an up and coming comedian. But anyway, and now as soon as I start talking, the wind goes from absolutely still. As soon as I get on air and start talking about it, the wind goes from still. You can see to about 3 miles an hour, right in that range. Three miles an hour. But I'm warm. I'm getting my body heat back up and stuff. I've had hot tea, and actually I'm warm enough to where I hit my kefir again because that's gotta keep my gut strong, man. I can't afford to. Anyway, it's a nice night. It's actually by about 8 o'clock, 8:30. Shit, it was dead around here. There goes a car. I see a car parked. I don't know what they're doing, and then there might be one over at Jack in the Box. One just pulled into 7-Eleven, but I've told you before, sometimes I like the wee hours of the morning when there's almost nobody on the road. There finally went one. It's just a little after 10 o'clock and Monday night, and it's just dead. Well, that was hilarious. Today a woman came up and she gave me like three out of, I hadn't even looked at it. It's in my pocket. Gave me like looked like some $1 bills or something, and she said, you know, we talked a little bit. I was cooking the stew. It was about 2 o'clock, and she goes, it's amazing because we all got to do it. You know, we all have our senior moments, even when we're relatively young. She goes, I'm going to the bank on Monday. I'll bring you some more money. I was about to go. Today is Monday, lady. You know, it's. I don't know whether I did mention it. I spent over an hour waiting for somebody to come online and ask me a few questions while looking at this incredibly long form that I filled out electronically. Some things are easier. It took me really almost no time to renew my Texas state ID, especially since, they said if you're not wanting the Gold Star air travel card, it's not a problem. And I'm not planning on it. I stopped flying a long time ago because of glaucoma. Glaucoma is not safe for the elderly. I mean, travel, especially high altitude where that cabin pressure is only 80, it kept about 10 pounds, 8,500 feet. It's not safe for the elderly and glaucomics. That's what Dr. Van Nagarwara was all about, was telling the truth in his study. But yet this DOT and FAA took his study results, which he admit was a bogus protocol, and published flying is safe for elderly and glaucomics. He made a ton of money off of doing that, but he admits that it in no ways simulated actual general aviation. Was exact his opening remarks. Was that this study is, he just lets you know right off the bat, this is bought and paid for science. As he expressed the fact that he's afraid of hurting his human subjects. So at no time did he actually take them to like 10,000 feet, the equivalent in air pressure and stuff, which is, happens in some cases where the cabin isn't pressurized. So anyway, I'm probably going to go back to the movie now. I just wanted to kind of check in because what the hell is it? It's probably morning in Sydney, Australia. And I think I was sleeping when Wednesday Kennedy responded. I didn't. Sorry, Wednesday. It took me a couple hours to wake up there to. And Mr. Roy Adams, if you're a real person in Idaho, thank you for your kind words. I'll never know if you're real or not. If you've watched very much here, I've got some guy that's been obsessed with me now for about 500 out of the last 560 days, 2 or 3 days, 61 days, I think today. It's amazing that they tolerate me here, but I think I know why. It's because I'm not some annoying, emotionally needy, socially assaultive, nutbag, mooching, wino, meth head thief. I'm a trustworthy person. People send their kids up to me all the time to like bring me stuff, and it's actually I just found that freaking green lizard that kid put. I didn't even notice it because it ain't gonna show up on the. Yeah, it is. See that little green spot right there on that tree? Yeah, that's it. I think that's right there. It's the kid who put them fucking stickers all over my wheelchair, which I had to scrape off before I could sit down because they would have just left big white patches of fiber all over my jacket and shit. And it pissed me off. Little things, inconsiderate little accident, to the childish, you know, in my day, children were trained to be considerate of other people, not to do shit like put stickers on somebody else's property. That's totally lost now with these indulgent parents. I see them all the time. Parents are extremely indulgent now. I had a sister that went like that because she was abusive towards her son, and was she would try to buy their love, with toys. Every you know weekend or whatever, when she'd just go out and buy a bunch of plastic junk that she knew would be destroyed by the next day by her daughter and her son and stuff like that. Well, that sibling rivalry is a real thing, and so is penis envy. My nephew's sister, uh, she was the firstborn. Well, not technically. Actually, the firstborn was a male child. He was put up for adoption, and he came back to haunt my sister. Really, he became a real family agitator. Mm. Anyway, I went off on a tangent. Anyway, I'm looking for a funny movie. I need something funny. I just there's such a dearth of comedians and stuff. I guess I really could start. I could punch in like Ricky Gervais or something like that. Somebody I haven't seen all of his work and stuff like that. It's matter of fact, I knew very little about Ricky Gervais until I saw him in a movie called Cemetery Junction, which I thought was a pretty funny movie and really telling about how it is. It's pretty much the same as being in a small town here in America or being in a small village in England and shit. That's kind of one of them dead end towns where if you don't get out, you're going to be stuck, doing the same thing your whole life. Uh, anyway, I'll let you go. I just was checking in. 22 minutes of me is enough. And I'm a little bit disappointed because I started watching the movie going like, Craig Ferguson, this has got to be good. And I'm 35 minutes into it, and we're just getting to where there's should be a plot twist coming up. He's working on trying to work his way. I'm probably going to watch the movie anyway because uh, I don't want to waste time looking for other shit. I wasted enough time in that hotel room just bouncing from channel to channel. We do the same thing on YouTube, but frankly, I get fewer ad pop-ups, and those ads last exactly about a quarter of a second as I scroll through them. It's like what did Seinfeld say? A gay French king. So he was talking about people who use cell phones as, we've this whole I'm offended thing is, and this restriction of freedom of speech of comedy, and even in Australia, the state of Victoria technically made most comedy illegal. If you hurt anybody's feelings in the state of Victoria and in Australia, you could potentially go to jail. If your comedy hurts somebody, I thought that's what comedy was all about, was about telling the truth and Don Rickles built his whole career on calling people names, being one of the first major trash talkers and shit talkers. If you're so young you don't remember Don Rickles, then you missed out on the evolution of comedy. I remember comedy when it really began. It really was at the modern comedy, past once you get past, the kind of what the Catskills, the Jewish Alps or whatever you want to call it. What's the area? It's Catskills, isn't it, primarily? Where we Jews created American humor and the hard K sound and comedy and comedic timing in this country. But kind of the newer twist really started with, I think, with Mort Sahl at the Hungry i, I, not EYE, but hungry I, as in me, myself, and I. Mort Saul would just, Lenny Bruce had already hit the scene, but and then came Mort Saul, who would just get up there and take today's newspaper and just start riffing on the bullshit articles that are in it, like politicians and crap like that. As I recall, that started at the Hungry Eye in San Francisco at a time that I was living there, and and then it progressed on. Even Robin Williams, I think, really made one of his big debuts. It was for HBO and stuff at the American Music Hall, I think it was in San Francisco. I think was the venue. And I remember all these, the kind of the beginning people. Well, Robin Williams was, 20 some odd years or more after Mort Saul, but Don Rickles is there in the 60s with his the obnoxious, insultive, kind of you yo-yo kind of. Uh, but that was kind of an evolution or a branching off of the original kind of Catskills, Jewish comic kind of thing. I love comedy. I have a naturally comedic persona. If you ever really got around me when I'm smoking some weed and I really don't have a care in the world, I got, plenty of money in my pocket and a roof over my head, or at least a tree over my head. They cut down about a third of it today. And I'm a funny person to be around. I mostly need human beings to do comedy. I told that to a number of, like these social worker types or others, that I'd really am kind of asocial unless I want to do comedy. Then I need somebody to play off of, to feed off of and stuff. It's, an audience to react to, my clowning around and stuff. And I like to mimic people and mock them or make fun of what they say. It's because people say the dumbest shit. They really do. It's a lot of people talk without thinking at all. I hope you're forgiving my voice is a little off. I'll let y'all go now, but I'm gonna go probably back to my movie. I just don't know where to look because the kind of comedians I really like and I get along with that haven't offended me, politically and stuff. I don't want to watch their shit. I don't want to watch another Will Smith shit. I don't want to watch another Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx has proven himself to be a racist piece of shit. And shit, he really is. Uh, I've seen pretty much all of Bill Burr and Dave Chappelle stuff. There's Ron White. Love him. He's like I am. Comedy is kind of naturally vulgar. That's what vulgar means, is common, the common man. It's mean, you know, means, common. That's what vulgar literally means. As a member of the English department, that's what vulgar, uh, they used to do masses in Latin, and then they did it in the Vulgate, as I remember. That's how, if I remember in my Catholicism right, they called it the Vulgate when they started doing it in the local uh, language instead of Latin. I think I got that right. I could be wrong. You're free to correct me. Anyway, I just thought I'd share with my regular viewers that it's past 10. There's almost nobody around. And it's not that cold. There's very little wind chill. And I'm in a pretty good mood. That's why I'm looking for a hoot and a howl. A lot of y'all think I'm a really hyper serious dude. And no, I really like funny shit. The only thing I miss about Austin was it's just a gold mine for comedy. There are so many fucked up people down there to make fun of. But now that's not a crime in Victoria, Australia. I'll see you guys later.